Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Shmuley.
Hey man, what's up?
How are you, my dear friend? I can hear you. I'm pulled over on the side of the highway to open up the Zoom share.
Shalom Avram Yosef, how are you?
Hi, Rebbe.
Cruising.
So I'm going to make Rebbe the host if I can, so that Rebbe could do whatever he wants to do, because I'm driving on the highway. I'm actually pulled over right now. Is that okay?
I'm glad you pulled over. Yeah, that's okay.
You have to choose one tree.
Yeah, sure. I'm the host.
Okay,
Live on
great. So I'm going to turn off my thing. I don't know how to do this because, hold on. Let's see.
Hold on. It's recording. Let me just see what's happening with me over here.
Rebbe should be good to go. Let me just, what's it called, everybody that's live now.
Hi, Rabbi Charlop.
Yeah,
How you doing?
good. Who's the masked?
Howie Pearlstein.
Shalom. How are you?
Good, thanks.
We got Ezra over there cooking away. Okay,
Is
great.
that a riots mask or a COVID mask?
Okay, I think we're on. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna let myself out.
Yeah, let's go back to it. I think I'm on. I think we also got onto whatchamacallit here. Great. Wow. Yeah. Shamus, you could respond to. Great, gentlemen. Lovely to see you all. Those that I'm not seeing. Moshe Lieberman. I know Moshe. Are we like? Oh, Moshe Lieberman. Now I got it. Good. How is everybody doing? Help well. Okay, here we go. So usually it takes me a little while to get the ball rolling. So let's see if we can jump into it. All right. There's a piece I wanted to do. It's a little bit I don't want to call it complicated, but it's a little higher level than we've been doing with. But I found it to be very, very fascinating. So I sent to you the text. It should be in front of you. So we discussed last week. Are we okay? We can jump right into it. It's only 8:33, right? Rabosa, we're ready? Good. Okay. So last week we discussed the three loves that there are in a Jew's life: love of Hashem, love of Torah, and love of the Jewish people. So, and each one it's really a shidduch. It goes together. You have to have all of them together. If you have all of them together, then it's a spiritual unit that works. If not, you only have love of Jews without loving Hashem. So you love people. You love having friends. If you love Torah without loving Hashem, so you love wisdom. So each one. So we saw last week when it says that the Jewish people, that it says Yisrael Kuch B'richa Yisrael V'Raisa Chadu. But it says that it's all one thing. It means the fact is it's all one unit and they all go together. Okay. Now, this piece is somewhat of a follow-up. And just before I started, I wanted to say that the idea of Ahavas Yisrael is not necessarily to take away of other sorts of Ahava, right? It says Oivus Abrius, right? It says Havim Talmidim Shel Aaron, Oivus Abrius. You love people. A Yid should, in general, should have a love of people. Like that's the go-to for us. But there's a quality that we have by Yisrael, is that it's like one unit. It's like loving yourself, because on a certain level, we're all connected. So therefore, it's not to take away from the love that we're supposed to have for the world and for other people. Again, I don't think we have to love Rishonim, but we have a general love is something that's how a Jew's orientation should be. Ahava. That's the orientation. Okay. Oh, Ellie Frost, very nice. Okay, so we have the piece again. You guys have it in front of you. So we're going to go a little bit further into the idea. We're going to go a little further into the idea of the different sorts of love. Okay? So we have it again. If you guys have it in front of you, I don't know how to share it if you need it, but okay. And he's going to say a few fascinating things. I just want to tell you, I couldn't hold myself back from learning this piece, but he says some absolutely small.
You can listen to it because it's a little bit hard for my ears. Like myself.
Okay. So it goes like this. It says, Mi sha'oiv es Torah. If somebody loves Torah, Torah ohavasa, the Torah loves him. Gamkein, Kamosha Kasav Perik, like it says, it says in Perik, that's Sanhedrin, it says, Halo Chachma Tikra, it says you should call to Chachma. So it says in the Gemara over there, Ani Oavi Ahav. I love the one that loves me. The Torah says, the one that loves me, I love him. So there's a love of Torah that if we have it, the Torah loves us. What does it mean the Torah loves us? What's that idea? What does it mean the Torah loves us? Umegalis lo kol staraya v'razia Torah, and it will reveal to us all of its secrets and all of the hidden parts, all the secrets. Kamo achashuk l'chashuka. Someone who has a deep desire for someone who's deeply connected to someone, so that person then will open up to him, right? If there's a deep connection, so the one you feel deeply connected to will connect. It could be a spouse, it doesn't have to be, it could be a good friend, it could be someone you feel connected to. So the Torah, when we feel connected to the Torah wants to talk to us, so to speak, right? And we can't really fake this. So it's not a question of again, we should, we have to daven for this. We have to daven. We have to ask Hashem. We should love your Torah. We should enjoy your Torah. We should feel connected to your Torah. But if we do, again, it takes time. It takes time. It's not just so easy, But you could love learning Chumash. You could love learning Mishnah. You could love learning a nice book in English, which has Torah, right? Torah has a lot of forms. You could love listening to Rabbi Y. Jacobson. You could love listening to Torah anytime, right? Loving Torah has a lot of different forms. If you love Torah, Torah will talk to you because it says you're connected to me. That's step one. I find this a fascinating concept. The second step is v'chein oiv Yisrael, hein oivim oso. If somebody loves Yidden, Yidden love him. We mentioned this the other day about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. You see in all the buses in Eretz Yisrael, you have a picture of the Lubavitcher Rebbe or the Baba Sali or Rabbi David Hibal L'chaim, Rabbi David Abachatzera, and Nahariya. People know that he loves them, and therefore they love him. Not just Tom because he has a nice beard, which he does, Leonardo. But the reason is because they know that he loves them. They knew the Lubavitcher Rebbe loves them. They love that the Baba Sali loved them. So if someone knows they are beloved to someone, they love them back. Shenamar Ba'aron, and the classic case of this, the height of this is Aaron Cohen. Ba'avos, it says in Perkei Avos, of course, Oiv is Abrius. He loved people, and they loved him back. Ulechein Namar Bo, the Yivku also Kol Beis Yisrael. And all of the Jewish people cried when Aaron passed away. Kedivri Rabbeinu Zichrono Levracha, like Chazal tell. It's a very famous, that he used to make shalom between the husband and the wife because he loved them. We'll have more to say on this. But if a person lahavdil, a person has been in the Dalit Amis of Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Novitz, our beloved Rabbi Gamliel. You feel, Mamash, he loves us. You go in there and he just loves you. So you love him back. And there are yin like that. I think we've had that, maybe all of us have had that experience. of feeling love. Ukamosha kosev, like it says also, kamayim apanim papanim. Like we all know this pasuk, that in the same way that the person looks into the water glances back. So the person shows a good face to someone, the love comes back at him. If a person shows a bad face, of course, it goes back to him. Umagawin lo, and this is how we're going to get. This is like an unbelievable line. Umagalin lo, korazin haganuzin benam Yisrael. And someone who loves Yidden, it is revealed to him the deep, like the secrets, the ganuzin, that which is hidden in the hearts of Yisrael. I wouldn't be at all surprised, even though Rav Tzadok doesn't say this before. I wouldn't be surprised if it means even the things that they don't even recognize in themselves. But sometimes you go to a tzaddik and he picks up things. I've had certain experiences. People pick up things. You don't even know, like, where did they get it? I've had people, certain rebbeim, say things to me. There's no way they could have known what was going on inside of me. But because they had a connection and they cared and they loved, so they feel it comes back. But if a person loves Yidden, he'll know inside of what's going on in him, which is why we go to a tzaddik. Because the tzaddik knows what's going on inside of us, not because he still has Ruach HaKodesh, which maybe he has, I'm not saying he doesn't have, but it's because he cares. So since he cares, the love comes back. And therefore, he gets to know about us because we're open, or we're spiritually open to that person. Just like yes or no. My wife's listening to Shir in the other room. Do you hear it in the background? No, Yaakov? Just tell me, you hear it in the background, or are we okay?
It's very low.
What's that?
We hear you.
You hear me? Great. Okay. Right. I was afraid because maybe the shir is actually pretty good, so maybe you'd like get tired of me, like listen to the shir. Okay. Anyway, v'zed tam v'nosa arna shemos b'nei Yisrael. He's going to tell us again. I've mentioned this before. Rav Tzadok is it's a very different sort of sefer than the Nesiva Sholem. The Nesiva Sholem is just like the flowing of the heart. Rav Tzadok is like, it's the emotional world, but with like a lumbness to it. And he takes Chazal and he just, okay. Okay. I don't know, what's impossible? Okay, whatever. So tell me what that means. If I didn't quite get it. Anyway, it says like this. Aaron wore the choshen, he wore the breastplate. It had all the names of Klal Yisrael on it. Kashem, ki Hashem, hu shorish koach, chius navshos, Shemos, ki Hashem, the name, hu shorish koach chius navsho. It's the source of his very life being. The Mekoro, in its highest place, in the highest source, Lamala. So if, for example, my name's David, it doesn't just stam mean that that's my name. It means that deeply connected, higher, on the highest levels, there's something about my name which connects to me. And in this world, it comes down, funnel comes down into this world. Maybe I'll just discuss that in a second, how that works. But at least not for now. Again, we got some Yaakovs over here. We have an Ezra here, right? Howie, but I don't know your Hebrew name. I think, but it might say, I don't know if Howie works up in high in Shemayim. Everybody who has their Hebrew name is really where they connect to, right? And we can use a lot of names, but the name that connects us down, that we have down here, is because we're connected very high up there. So Moshe is a name which connects to the highest height. So our names is the source of who we really are. So when Aaron carries on his heart the choshen, it means he's carrying the deepest roots of the Jewish people as they are expressed in this world, right? Shalom Avrami. So they have in this world, you have somebody, you have an Avrami, you basically have a Reuven, Shimon, Levi. So the pshat is there's a Reuven, but it connects to the highest heights of what Reish, Aleph Vav Ben Nun means. So that's what he has. He's carrying that. He says something startling to me. Ulalev Aaron Ahoiv Yisrael, and the heart of Aaron, which loves the Jewish people. Hershel Shmuel, Gavaltik. That's way up there. Because over there you got the Chassidim dancing also. You got a Hershel. You got the Chassidim dancing around also way up. So it says, "All the Lev Aaron Ha'oiv Yisrael Goloyim Sodos Kol Nafshos B'Sharsha." By the heart of Aaron, who loves the Jewish people, it is revealed the secrets of their souls in their root, all the way up high. Because of the fact that he has this love, he has the breastplate. It means he has the kosher on him, and he has the names. It's not just like a oh, that's nice. He has like the names and he likes it. It means he's wearing a physical representation of the deepest connection of their source of their souls up in Shemayim. And he ends like this: Va'al yedei zeh. And through this, his love that he has for them, Nizgalin lo kol chololi alma, all of the like empty parts of the world, meaning everything that's like not clear. Shayu sholim borim betumim. So the letters that when he would ask borim betumim, right, he would ask the breastplate, he would ask the koshin. So then ha'osios boltin. So we all know that there was a miracle. There was a great miracle that happened when they wore the choshen. What happened when he wore the choshen was, it used to light up. I think we've all learned this, especially the kids. It's like a shmak, right? It lit up. How did it light up? So the simple pshat it's a shamor of an ace. Don't remember when it was there, it lit up. Well, what's the pshat? What's the inner mechanism of how it works? Sorry, I just always forget that I can grid this. Okay, fine. But what's the inner mechanism of how it works? So he says that the way it works is on a deeper level is Pirish sheyesh belitas believe ha'oev Yisrael. It comes out of the heart of the one that loves the Jewish people. Al yedei shmos b'nei Yisrael, through the names of b'nei Yisrael. Ledas rachan Hashem yisbarach. What does Hashem want? Banhagas ha'olam, in running the world. Davar be'ito b'chol dor v'dor. Each thing in its proper time in every generation. It means that, sometimes you feel like your heart's coming out. Like in a cartoon, Lahavdil, you want to show somebody like they really loves them, like so the heart like kind of jumps out of his skin. You know what I'm talking about? Boom, 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 right? So that we think is, again, it's like a mushal, but according to Rav Tzadok, what happens over here is the heart, because of Aaron's heart, because he has this heart that just goes out to the Jewish people. That going out to the Jewish people goes into the letters, and the letters light up. So he knows what do the Yidden need, what's important for the Yidden, what's going on in the depths of their neshamas. So even though, of course, on one level, when we're learning about the Urim V'Tumim of the Choshen, and we know whether it lit up. So of course, it was a certain way. It was a certain nace. It wasn't a natural thing, but there was a dynamic to how it actually worked. It means Aaron's heart going out to the Jewish people, his love pouring out, went into the letters, and the letters lit up because Aaron wanted nothing more than the best for the Jewish people. I should just tell you just a little bit of a side thing. Someone said, "What do you?" I listened the other day to Rabbi YY. He's wonderful. I think we all enjoy him. Hopefully, or many of us enjoy him. He says, "Who do you listen to when people are giving suggestions?" So he says basically three people. There are three types of people. People you don't want to listen to. You can listen to them. You don't want to be rude. But basically, then you have a lot of people that's basically everybody else, which is they have suggestions. Maybe you listen. Maybe you like it. He said, but the person that loves you, and the person who really cares for you and wants your very, very best, that's the person you listen to, right? Because his heart is there with you. So Aaron's heart, who cared for the entire Klal Yisrael, when it came out, the way it was expressed, as it came out in letters, which was the source of their neshamas, and then he lit up in order to know what does each neshama need, what does each shevet need, what does Klal Yisrael need. Okay, that's what he says. We're going to go a little bit of an aside over here. I'm sorry. Let me just one more, then we'll stop actually with this book. Just 1 second. Yeah, actually, we're going to pause over here, just by this period. All right, so far we have like this. A person who loves the Torah loves him and shares his secrets. So therefore, for example, each one of us, we have times where we come up with a Kiddush, something we think in the Parsha, and the Gemara that we're working on. There's some to our Torah. It's an expression of the fact that we want to know what the Torah says. So the Torah says, I want to tell you, right? Which is how do big tzaddikim know this incredible divrei Torah, things that they know, they say, like chidushim and like, because they love Torah. They want to, what does the Torah say? I want to know what the Torah, and the Torah says, I want you, if you want to know what I want to say, I want to tell you. By Yidden also, if we really care for Yidden, but like really care for Yidden, so the Yidden, so the inside of the Yid is going to come out. We're gonna sense it. We're gonna know it. Again, on Aaron, on his level was, this way up there. So he's able to be in contact with the entire Jewish people, and the heart lights up the letters. Okay, Ad Khan. You got it? Up till now, we're okay? We're together? So I think these are some remarkable ideas. Let's go a little further. We'll see how much of this piece is. Again, it's a lot to chew, but Nafsh Yisrael shebechol dor. And on this is shown for every generation, right? So that's in general. Torah, meaning that's what we need to know. What does Klal Yisrael needs at each time? I'm going to skip the parentheses over here, the brackets. Torah he limud derech klal, and in general, the Torah is the way we get to know what goes on in a Jew. I'll tell you a nice pshat, which Rav Tzadok says elsewhere. A rather incredible pshat. Maybe we'll learn it at some time, but Rav Tzadok says a remarkable word. Sholem Nasan Meir. I'll tell you a great part from Rav Tzadok. Rav Tzadok says that we say in our siddur, we say that the Baruch looks into the Torah. Again, we're talking about like the fact that we want to know what the Torah wants and what the Torah says, and we want to know what's the Ratzon Hashem. The Torah will tell us. So we say in our siddur, "Hamachadish b'chol yom tov ma'aseh bereshis." The Baruch Shalom is mechadish the Torah at all times, right? It's mechadish the Torah. I'm sorry, ma'aseh bereshis. He's mechadish ma'aseh bereshis. So Tzadok says a remarkable thing. But Tzadok says that Lamaisa, the tzaddikim, when they learn Torah, I'm sorry, one step before. It says the Baruch Shalom wanted the world, so he looked into the Torah and he created the world, right? So Lamaisa, he says, Hashem is mechadish the creation every day. So that means he looks into the Torah every day, so to speak, and then he's mechadish the world. Because since he looked into the Torah and he created the world, and that process happens every day, mechadish b'chol yom ma'aseh bereshis is mechadish every day ma'aseh bereshis. So he looks into the Torah every day, and then he's mechadish the world. And he says the tzaddikim who are connected, the big tzaddikim, like this is the real thing. When they look into the Torah, and they see the subtleties, they pick up messages, whatever, in their chidushei Torah, they know what's going to happen in the world. Because since the Torah is the blueprint and is the source of everything new that happens in the world, and the Baruch looks in the Torah, the Baruch gave that over to the tzaddikim and to the big chacham. They look into the Torah, and they have chidushei Torah, and the chidushei Torah is the chidush of the day. So again, the point is, first of all, it's a remarkable pshat. I found this to be a remarkable pshat. You go back to your siddur, you mechadish b'tuv ma'aseh bereshis, mechadish every day ma'aseh bereshis. You can look at it a different way, and there are tzaddikim that know that. There are tzaddikim that know what's going on. Listen, by some of you gentlemen have been to Poland, if you remember correctly. So we discussed when we were there. We talked about among many other things, but the Chos of Lublin, right? So the Chos of Lublin. On the first 12 days of Nisan, every day represents one of the 12 months. And he would say, based on whatever was going on that day, what was going to happen in the month. And sure enough, Kachava, right? He would say in the first day, he would say in Rosh Chodesh, what's going to be in all of Nisan. On the second day, what's going to be in all of Iyar. The third day, what's going to be in all of Sivan, right? And the famous story is that when he got to be, on the year that he passed away, he had a drasha for all the days. He got to the fifth day, and then he didn't say anything. And that was the month that he passed away. He passed away in Tisha B'Av. The idea is, so they can look into the Torah, because again, there's a kesher. They want to know, what does the Torah want from me? What is the Torah saying to me? We're looking for what the Torah says to us. The Torah, so to speak, speaks to us. excuse me, if we want to know what Yidden want, what Yidden need, and we care for Yidden, Yidden talk to us, so to speak. Okay, that's the first piece. That's the first half of this piece. Now, he says something, I'm going to skip the brackets. He says, V'atorah hu he limit derech klal. That Torah is it's in general. I will befrat. If a person wants to know in particular, be'ito, in any particular time that we're dealing with, but also zman, in that particular time, the nefesh, and that particular person, u'makom, in that particular place, zeu b'nei Yisachar. The b'nei Yisachar. The b'nei Yisachar was actually named the Sefer. The b'nei Yisachar was Yodei Bina Le'itin. It says that they knew the times, but they use the word Bina. And Bina is always the ability to be able to decipher the subtleties. Bein zeh lezeh. So Yisachar had the quality, as it says, Shenimshach mina Bina shebelev, because from the Bina, which Bina, the source of Bina is in the heart. Shesham hur ha-rachmanus v'ahava lebrios. And Bina in the heart is rachmanus, it's the caring, and it's the love of people. Masha Ein Kain, that's the first step. So again, so Bina and Yisachar go together. And again, there are certain Jews that are Bina Jews. They love Pashat, it's in their heart. They love, and they know what this person will need, what the Torah wants of them, based on that Rachmanis. His lashon is Rachmanis and Ahava. But in general, the Sheva that represented that quality was Yisachar. Then Umasha Ein Kain HaChochma, as opposed to Chochma, who Avas Rebbitzin? Masha Ein Kain HaChochma, who Ha'avis is a Torah. However, by Chochma, that's a different quality. This we discussed. Again, we discussed the three loves: the loves of Yidden, the love of Torah, and the love of Hashem. So he's going to relate it back a little bit. So Chochma is Avis HaTorah. V'zeu Levi. Levi represents the concept of loving Torah. But Yichud in particular, again, all Shvatim love Torah. But Levi in particular, Sheyotze Mimenu Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu came out of him, out of Levi. Olav Shalom. B'chalal HaKohanim V'Levim, Heim HaShoftim, as was well known, that the Kohanim and Levim were the judges. It says in the many Psukim. Kamosha Namor says, Ubasa El Kohen, right? It says you can come to the Kohen and he'll judge you, right? But in many places. So, and that's why the Gemara says, but Omer B'Giyum, the Gemara says, Surah Mi Rabbanin, the More, they have the Rabbanin that teach, if they're teaching, either it's Mi Levi or Mi Yisachar. The Gemara in Yuma says, either going to come, our teachers are either come from Levi or Yisachar. The question is, why is it like that? So with Rav Tzadok, he opens it up, because Levi is going to represent those that love Torah, and their source is going to be their connection with Torah. And Yisachar is going to be also, their source is going to be more a connection with Yisrael. It does not mean Levi doesn't love Yidden, and it doesn't mean that Yisachar doesn't love Torah. It just means that in general, there are people that their source of who they are is their love for Torah, and there are other people that the source of who they are is that they love Yidden. And hopefully it's both, but it's primarily, right? So that's why the Gemara says that. Let's just go a little further, because there's okay, yeah, let's go a little further. It says that they were the head. Yisachar was the head of the Sanhedrin. The sorry is because certain people, I think he means on a deeper level, someone who's older and someone who's a sorry who didn't have children. The tsarit gam came ahavas abrios. In order to really judge, you have to love people. Could they lay the hadavar beito to know what's really correct at this time? The zeh zocha Yisachar al yedei, and Yisachar was the one who in particular got this quality. Al yedei memoratzei aritzoy. There was certain Yidden. I don't know. Again, all you guys have, we have our experiences. Some of us have met from Gamliel, right? There were people that love Yidden. They didn't know almost what to do with that out of it. The love of Yidden was just spilled all over the place. There were Jews that are like that. They loved Yidden. I once spoke to I used to have a connection with a very special Jew, a Pittsburgh Rebbe in Ashdod. And one time there was a little bit of a difference. I'm not really too involved with him now. Some of you guys have actually went down to Ashdod with us. I think, no, Shmuley, you went down to, yeah, it was very geschmack. It was like a whole, met the Rebbe, a holy Jew. So I once spoke to him after a few years, I hadn't been to there, whatever. I said, Rebbe, I feel a bit bad, I haven't been in Dutch, He said, David, it's hard for me to be angry at you. He says, my teva is, I love all Yidden. He says, it's nothing that I did. I got it from my father. He says, my teva is, I love Yidden. And you saw that it just comes out of him. So there are people that just love Yidden. That's just like, it's kind of built into them. So that's a quality of Yisachar. Okay, that's in the Gemara. And Erevin, Jezel, Tokei Ba'ava, Labrius, and that's really the love of people. He was born with this love. That's just how he was born. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more. This next piece, which is not going to be, I don't know, we're going to have to jump because it's a little bit hard. Because this is going to be the third love. And this one is a little bit, this part of Rav Tzadok is a little bit more complicated to me at least. But I think the idea I just wanted to share. Masha'en Kain Yehuda, as opposed to Yehuda, Shenikra al Shmo Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yehuda represents Hashem. He has his name in his name. Kamosha Omer Besota. Ki Avas Hashem Yisbarach Kavua Bo. Because Yehuda is going to have the third sort of love. Yehuda has a love of Hashem, which is why his name is in there. So we're going to have Yisachar. And again, it's not just Yisachar, but Yisachar represents types of Yidden that love Yidden primarily. That's their primary love. There are going to be people like Levi, where their primary love is going to be love of Torah. And they're going to be Yidden that their primary love is love of Hashem. And Yehuda represents the Yidden that primarily love Hashem. If you've ever, I don't know if you've ever met people that push it, they're lovesick. They're lovesick for Hashem. I have met people in my lifetime that it's almost shocking to meet such people, to see such people. But I've had that experience. They're push it, lovesick for Hashem. So there are people that are like that. But that quality, he has the name in. Let's skip around the brackets again. Yisrael al Shmo. And that's why the Jewish people are called on his name. Like we said last week, that the fact is that every Yid has a connection to Avos Hashem, and that can never be broken. Even if Avos Torah or Avos Yisrael can get severed to a certain degree, but Avos Hashem can never get broken by a Yid. That's by definition, that's the love that they have. All right, so that's why we're called Yehudim, right? Because of that love that we have. Sorry. Yeah. The Gemara says, "Kol kofar b'avodah zara, nikra Yehudi." The Gemara says that he was called right? Mordechai Yehudi. Why is it called Yehudi? Because he went against avodah zara. Because by definition, Yehudi means he's connected to Hashem. The Omer Sham b'Yuma. The Gemara says to the Gam, "Bo Nemar Yehuda mechokeki." Right? It said that they are the ones that give the law. So this idea, I don't know, we're still have time. I just want to tell you, this idea that we're going to say now is a complicated idea to me, but we're going to talk about Yehuda's connection to Torah and how he relates to it, right? It's going to be a little bit of a different concept of Torah than we've had up till now, which is Torah as Chochmah. And again, Rav Tzadok is machadish things. He says fascinating things. We just have to listen to his words. We'll do our best to process. And anybody on this particular piece in particular, I think up till now, I think I kind of got what Rav Tzadok wants. And from this piece on, I can only say I kind of think I have idea what Rav Tzadok wants. So it says that the Yehuda are called mechokekim. They're the ones that engrave the law, right? It's the bracha that Yaakov gave to Yehuda. The Moshe also rak the lo mosik. Now he says, however, the chukah, the chok, isn't necessarily the bottom line. The vaday hamishpat mida keneged mida. Definitely in terms of knowing the law, there's mida keneged mida. Hashem Yisbarach megal lo starav. Hashem will hint to them the depth of what he knows, so to speak. Ella dezeh eno aliba dehilchasa. So he says, but it's not exactly according to halacha. We'll explain what that means. Pirish, lashon halacha, that halacha is going. It means that we're going with the law. Miloshin hakosav zeh haderech leichuba. That's the way they go in it. The idea is, what he's going to say over here is that sometimes we have the theory of the law and the absolute, ultimate truth of what the law is about. And then we have a different idea of now, how do we carry it out? So Bina, the love of Yidden, is going to help translate it a certain way. And those that have a certain love of Torah, going to translate it a certain way. And the love of this connection to Hashem is going to be a little bit different. And we'll explain. Well, the way that Hashem runs the world, it says in Bava Metzia, Lo b'shamayini, ve'ein b'shkikim b'basko. The famous, the Gemara, the wall was right between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim, right? So it says Lo b'shamayini, which means there's a certain quality of Torah that's way up there that we don't really have a connection to. So I'm just going to do a few lines, and I'm actually going to skip. It's a little thick. Nechluchu b'mesifta the Rekiya, and the Gemara says there was this one time that they had a machlokus in Shemayim, that the Baisham had a machlokus, that he held something else, who Omer, and he said like that, and the Chamim argued with him, and he says it's chuni banai, right? Why? What do you mean that the Baisham held something and then they argued with him and they won? What could that mean? Because Torah, the way it's written in the oral and the written way, it's called a chok. It says chuka chachakti, gezerah gezarti. I made a chok. That's the way it is. V'chein abriya, to whom I said a kodesh bochu, and the way the world works. Hu nikra chuka shemayim ba'aretz. There's certain ideas. There's rules. That's the way it goes. The shemayim ba'aretz goes a certain way. Torah goes a certain way. The Ken Yehuda mechokiki, and Yehuda has that. Niskalalo, Chukas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's told exactly how it's supposed to go. This raya, I just want to skip because I looked it up in the Gemara. I didn't understand it's a Tosis, brings a Tosefta. Let's just go after to the words Ba'athal Pi. 3 words towards the end of the line. Ba'athal Pi, Ein Bo Shum Tam. Because there are certain reasons that there could be that's the halacha, and we don't know why. We know the famous thing, why do we have to eat treif? Because the Baruch want it that way. Right? We don't eat treif because the Baruch want it. The he ain't tam l'ratzon. There's no tam why it's like that. The Baruch wanted it like that. That's why he wanted. That's a chok. Chok means the Baruch made a world. He said, don't eat treif. Okay, so good. Maybe affects the neshama, but the bottom line is it's a chok. The Baruch made it like that. That quality was given over to Yehuda because his connection with Hashem is such that he's totally connected with Hashem. The same way that the Hashem has a chok. So Yehuda was given the chok. This is the law. Done. Finished. There's no moving around. You can't move from there. I want to get back to this thing to Bratzen if we have 2 minutes at the end. It says Shlomo Melech says I didn't look away from the Torah. Even though we know sometimes like Shlomo Melech, he had everybody eat on Yom Kippur when they inaugurated the Beis HaMikdash. Hagam shelo yoda tam, even though he didn't know the reason. Sheyesh bo eis lasos l'Hashem. There's just certain times. Rakhuka, that's the way it is. He understood like this is what was supposed to happen. Again, you can't make this up. You have to be holding. The hilchos are halacha l'moshe Sinai below timer, and we have certain things that there's no explanation to it. Why is it like that? Why is it a kazayas? Why is it why should it be like that? This is an aside. Again, we're talking about a certain quality of Torah that just is because the Baruch wants that way. I just want to tell you a little bit of aside. In parentheses, Rebbitzin. Sorry, maybe you can't hear, but I can. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so I just want to tell you a little bit of an important yesod that I once heard from a Rebbe of mine. It's a good thing to put in your pocket. You can put it in your front pocket, back pocket while you're learning. There are a lot of shirim. Every quantity we have is halacha l'moshe Sinai. Rabbi, the kazayas, the kabeitz, whatever. So the idea, halacha l'moshe Sinai means that it's not completely without a reason, but how it became that specific amount is somewhat arbitrary. So for example, if you eat a little speck of food, that's not called a chila, right? Eating a kazayas, that's already a certain amount, which is like, okay, that's a certain substantive. It's a little more substantive, It's a little more, it's a little more something you can really eat and you're like, feel like you're eating something. But how it ended up being gazayas, we don't know. So when it says Lochel Mishmi Sinai, it doesn't mean that it's completely arbitrary on a certain level. Again, I'm saying this in parentheses. It doesn't mean that it's completely arbitrary. It just means that it relates to a certain concept, but in that concept, it happens to be that it's arbitrary. So eating is going to be not just a speck, but it's got to be something. We don't know how much of a something. It's got to be something substantial. So something substantial is a gazayas. Okay, hope they understand. Okay. Below time, in Maskana, the Hilgazal and Hagasa Olam. Right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that the bottom line is going to mean is that's how we're going to do it. Shlomo Melech reached the point he didn't want to have an 80 Eidim Hasra. He just knew, like, this is what he had a sense of this Ratzon Hashem. Again, we don't hold by this. We're not in this. This could be Mashiach stuff. That he's so connected to Hashem, he just intuits what's the chok. It's got to be like this. You don't have to discuss it. Again, for us, it's lo b'shamayim. I hope we're not getting too far off in this. Lo b'shamayim, he means that even though in a certain way there's certain big tzaddikim, it's like clear as day, it's got to be like that, and that's because they're connected with Hashem. The same way that Hashem says the Torah has to be like this, and Chukash and Shemayim Baris has to be like this. So the tzaddikim say it has to be like this, but that's not necessarily how we act. We have Bina, we have Chachma, right? We have Yisachar, we have Levi. Actually, this was almost the part I wanted to skip to. He says something also. Again, he finishes off with a remarkable idea. It says that Shlomo Melech sat on the Kisei Hashem, the throne of Hashem. What does that mean? V'hari al Kisei Hashem Yoshev HaKodesh Baruch Hu. What do you mean? The Bible sits on his throne. What do you mean he sat on it? What does it mean? Sorry, let me just get that. Sorry, let me just get to your chatting over here, just if there's anything I need to, an idea. Okay. Yeah. Shlomo Melech had crazy debates. Like, it was, again, he was Kamat Mashiach, you know what I mean? He made the Beis Hamikdash, he had all the Shemayim Ba'aretz, like, connected to him. He was the king over everything. So he says, so what's the pshat that the pasuk says he sat on Hashem's throne? What does it mean? What's the pshat to the pasuk? Because you love something, you're david to that thing. This is like the remarkable wind-up of this piece. Somebody who loves Torah, Yisrael, and he loves Yidden, david behem, he clings to them. If he loves Hashem, Sha'al Yisrael, Yosef Shlomo Melech, Allah Shalom, Kol Sefer Shir Hashem. Shir Hashem was all about Yidden's love and the Shlomo Melech's love for the Baisham. Hari David Bo, he's clinging to Hashem, Ad Kiviyokol, until almost to the point, so to speak, V'hayu L'Basar Echad. V'hayu L'Basar Echad is the puzzle that we use for first man with his wife. They mamish cling together. V'hayu L'Basar Echad. So if a person loves Hashem, V'hayu L'Basar Echad, it becomes like one Kiviyokol with Hashem. So when it says that he sat on Hashem's throne, when he said when he sat on Hashem's throne, it's Ki'ilu, he sat together with him. Like Baruch said, okay, you can sit on my throne, we're one. So it's not like I'm sitting, you're not sitting. Shlomo Melech's love of Baruch was so intense that he went into a world where he sat on his throne. He was like David to him. And therefore, because of that, when he had to judge things, he didn't need Adam, he just was totally in tune with whatever the higher Ratzon was. Fine, Ad Khan. The Kitzer. The idea that we had over here was that when a person clings to something, either one of the three loves, either the love of we started over the love of the Jewish people, the love of Torah, or the love of Hashem. A person loves Torah. We started first Torah. If a person loves Torah, the Torah will speak to him. If a person, and will tell you his secrets. If a person loves Yidden, the Yidden, so to speak, without even saying it, they'll reveal their secrets. All right? Just in case you guys can ever heard, but it's a great word to say over. It says, right? The famous word. Things that come out of the heart, they go into the heart. But the mice, the way it's said over is even the things they don't say. The things they don't say is what goes into the heart, not the things they do say. The things that come out of the heart that don't get said. That goes into the heart. Anyway, that's the second one. So the person who loves Yidden, he gets to feel for Yidden. He gets to hear what's going on inside. And if a person who loves Hashem, he'll connect to a certain level of Hashem's wisdom that he's totally connected, and he just hears, this is what the Ratzon Hashem is. I don't know why. This is the Ratzon Hashem. Even though we may not actually follow like that, because we don't do like Shlomo, that he doesn't use witnesses and doesn't use mourning, right? We do, because that's not the level we're up to now. We're up to the level of Yisachar, Levi, etc. But again, 3 types of love. When we love, we get it back. We love Torah, we get it back. We love Yidden, it comes back. We love Hashem, he also tells us a secret. So if we want to know, so this is just in terms of understanding tzaddikim. We want to know Talmidei Chachamim, tzaddikim. How does the Reb Chaim know what he knows, right? So the answer is I don't know. I don't know why Reb Chaim knows what he knows, but he knows what he knows somehow. But one thing he knows is because he loves Torah. He loves Torah. He loves Torah. Besides the fact that he learns all the time, but we forget. Like the idea is that we think it's good. Okay, he learns Torah. He's a masmid gadol. He's a masmid past anything we can imagine, right? On the other hand, he loves Torah. He partially loves Torah. I'm sure you guys have met people that love Torah. They love Torah. They love people love Yidden. There's some people who love Hashem. They get back to seek. When you love, you get back. That's the basic idea I wanted to say over. Please, I have one more point. If there's no other questions, there was something I just wanted to mention. But any questions, comments, you could say over here. Is this somewhat clear? Again, this isn't like in the Siva Shalom. There's a little bit of a lumdisha piece. Shmuel, you got this? Shmuel, this came across a little bit? Yeah?
Yeah, totally. So if I'm understanding the idea that he's talking about, this is one of the ways to understand where it seems that the tzaddikim are doing things that are not in line with halacha, right? Like is that what we're referring to here? Like the David HaMelechs and the Shlomo Melechs and Yosef HaTzadik and all those kind of things. When they're connected at a certain level, it's just sort of a different hanhaga of Ratzon Hashem that they're connected with. That's not necessarily the written word of the Torah.
Right. That's right. And again, we don't do that.
Right.
We don't daven like the Amshin over. You know what I mean? We don't do that.
Right.
Right. It happens he has rayas and svaras. I mean, he's a huge Talmud Chacham. But that's a certain anhaga. It's a certain,
he probably didn't decide to start doing that because of the rayas and svaras. Like, it probably came to him.
Right. Probably it's true. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody get it? Everybody else more or less kind of got this idea? Abrami, more or less? They love how it comes back? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. At one point, I just wanted to tell you, since he was talking about how this kind of thing comes without any, it's like this level of Yehuda and connecting to Hashem and Shalom HaMelech is like, it's like above Tom. It's above, what's his lashon? He says, Ki ein Tom l'Ratzon. There's no reason for Ratzon. I want to tell you something. Nelson Mayer, this one's for you. Nelson Mayer, you with me? People.
Yeah, been very distracted on my laptop. Very distracted.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. You know, you're in the ADD generation. Like, it's okay. You know, I like Baruch Hashem. I was in Neve long enough that I use that now for everything. Like, well, I was in Neve long enough. Now I'm like totally ADD. You know, so I'm like talking to my wife and like I got like a phone call and it's like, what are you doing? Come on, I'm talking to you. It's like, no, I was in Neve. You know, it's like my patur for life. Anyway, I just want to tell you a very fascinating yesod. And I heard this from a very interesting person. His Jewish neighbor, Rabbi Pinson. And he's a Chabadsker. Some of you guys know who this Rabbi Pinson is? No. You know who he is? Yehuda? Yeah. Yaakov, sorry. You know, he's a very interesting Jew. If you want to do yourself a favor, Nelson, do yourself a favor. Look, Rabbi Pinson is a Chabadsker. It's like Kabbalah, a Shkafa, but a lot of Kabbalah that he puts in. Very interesting. So,
how do you say his name? What's his name?
Pinson, Pinson. Pin as in pin, son as in son. All right? But he has a few, I forget the name of his site. But don't look it up now. Do me a favor. Guys, I got 12 guys over here. They all start like looking online, checking it out. Just let's pretend we're not in the day for 3 minutes till I finish the shit. All right? So everybody's checking it anyway. Didn't make a difference. I love the bay. Anyway, So you guys have thought of the question. You've heard the question of why did Hashem make the world? Why did Hashem make a world? So if Mitzvah Hashem, you've learned Derech Hashem, so you say it over the Derech Hashem. The Baruch wanted to give of his good, and he needed someone to give over the good. Man got the job, and they kind of blew it. Then Klal Yisrael got the job, right? That's the answer that you and I normally say. David, you've said that answer before. You've heard that answer before. Yeah, I want to tell you this answer has really never worked for me, and I want to tell you why. I don't want to create problems. The reason it never worked for me is because what if I didn't ask for it. Like, why do we need this? Like, why, like, you want to give me pleasure? Like, what if, like, but that does, like, but why did he make it? Why did he have to decide to make the pleasure that way? He just could have given me the pleasure some. Plenty of people ask this question. Let me give me the pleasure. So I'll be fine. I can go to Bahamas. You know what I mean? I don't have to work for my ticket and for the house on the beach. Give me the bat. You'll tell me I won't enjoy it so much. Good, I got it. Nahamad the Ksufa. Good. I'll be okay. I'm Mavata. Give me the Bahamas. Give me the plane flight. Give me the beach. Give me the house. I'll be embarrassed. I'll deal with that. I'll get a shrink. I'll be okay. I'll manage. So what's the reason that Hashem made the world? The answer that he gave to me was the best answer. It may not work for you. The answer is because he wanted to. Because Ein Tam L'Ratzon. The Baruch Shalom decided to make a world. And he decided to make it this way. How do we understand it after the fact? After the fact, he wanted to give from his good. But that's after the fact. Before the fact is Ein Tam L'Ratzon. I have no idea why. I don't have any idea, really. Again, you have to decide who are you going to say this to, who you're not going to say it to, right? It could be for the guy who just, was like sitting in the berries and some sheer. You don't want to say this because it gets a little too esoteric, it gets too like way out there. And you may just want to say Hashem wanted to give good and there's so much good in the world. However you want to do the answer. I'm just telling you this answer to me worked much better. Why did he decide to do it this way, to give good and make us work for it? Ratzon, Ein Tam L'Ratzon. Moshe decided. Nelson, are you with me, or are we still just a little distracted? You're with me? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds like there's no, like, tafkid for us, and it just sounds like sort of hopeless for us.
No, verkehrt. All we know is that an eternal being decided that he wanted to do something. This is a different schmooze. I have a different shot on this one. We sometimes wonder, why did Hashem make the world? Sorry, I'm going to give you all my kind of like random thoughts that hit me. We sometimes wonder, like, why did Hashem make the world? Right? Well, he didn't have to make the world. The Baruch was, so to speak, thinking it over, and guess what? He decided to make the world. So there's a machlokes between me and the Baruch. I'm not so sure, and he was. Between me and the Baruch said, you know something? Gonna make it. I want to make a world. And I'm saying, like, also, it's one of the godlessness of the Baruch. The Baruch said, not only am I going to make the world, but I'm also going to put it in you little human's head that you're not going to be so sure about the whole thing. That's a good trick. You create a car.
I think it's like just our insecurity. Our lack of understanding, just an insecurity.
Or we let go. And we say, Baruch, I don't know why, but you decided, and you know much better than me. And not only that, but you put in my little head to like have all these questions. That's pretty cool. If you want to make
it's
a
not
car.
Cool. It's not cool. It's not so cool. I don't know if something where we struggle too. It's not so cool.
Again,
it's not so cool to struggle with these things.
It's fine to struggle. It's fine to struggle. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know anything wrong with struggling.
It sucks. That's what's wrong with struggling.
It's because, again, Nelson, I agree with you. I just wanted, this is something that when I don't know, a little while ago, a few weeks ago, I sent you a message, whatever. When you have questions and you're dealing with all these sort of issues, you've got to break them into two, in my opinion. You have to break them into an intellectual question, and you got to break it into an emotional question. Why do people die? Why was there a Holocaust? Nelson, you went to Poland, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Poland and you don't ask the question, how did this happen? It's like a person's dead. Person can't go to Poland and not ask that question. Person has low Eleno, Corona hit. Big people passed away. Tens of thousands, 100,000. I mean, the numbers are staggering. And you got to know, when you ask that question, there's two relationships to the answer. One part of the answer is, intellectually, can I understand it? And emotionally, can I deal with it? But the emotional part of the question is the question that you and I and everybody else is asking today. No one is really looking into the question of why was there a Holocaust on an intellectual level. First of all,
Because there is no answer on an intellectual level.
that's right, but you don't stop getting bothered by it. It still bugs you, and it bugs me because we're human beings. Because a bunch of put a heart into us, and City put a heart into us, so we bleed. And since we bleed, we can't deal with the fact that there's some higher reason for it, and I don't know what it is. Because I could say, listen, there's an infinite God. He's got a big picture. There are tzaddikim that have revealed some of the things with Gilgulim, but I don't get it because it hurts. Some of the guys know, yeah, Nelson, I had a sister. She passed away 10 years ago. She was in an accident. And I had to deal, I don't know if you ever saw my book, but I wrote a book about it. But Lamaisa, one of the reasons I wrote the book was because I had a lot of questions, but I didn't have emotion, but it took me a while to figure out over my questions. There are emotional questions and there are intellectual questions. In general, why did Hashem make the world? The question is not why Hashem made the world, is why is there so much suffering, and how in the world am I supposed to deal with so many people in pain? People turn to you, Nasi. You got this, Baruch Hashem, you're giving out messages, trying to give chizuk, and because you're in the matzah of putting yourself into a situation of trying to give chizuk, people turn to you and they tell you horrific stories. They tell you stories that you can't go to sleep from. Any of us being in the Vay, we are Rebbeim, we're not Rebbeim, we've all had roommates, and we've all shared our own story. And the stories are horrific. And you cannot make peace with those kind of stories. You just can't make peace with it. What are you supposed to do? Your roommate was whatever, the abuse and the beatings and you wonder, mazeh, what is it? So the answer is, there's two answers. There's an answer is, I don't know what this neshama needs. And there's another answer, or another question answer of, how could it be that someone has to suffer so terribly? My in-laws went through the war. And when I go to Poland, we haven't had the I don't know what it's called, the schus, I don't know what they call it, the opportunity, let's call it, to go to Poland. I went with some of these other gentlemen, right? And shared my story. Shmuley was very kind recently, sent me the video. I cried again. It's impossible. You just can't, you just gotta, whatever, you cry. You didn't cry. But the Lamaisa, the pain is really what we deal with. So someone comes and tell you, and they say, my father did this and this to me. How am I supposed to deal with it? The answer is, you cry with him. You can't. There's no answer. My wife told me a beautiful story from the Novominsk Zatzal, with a big loss to Klal Yisrael from the virus. Big yiddies. He had a couple. He came there as Israel. A beautiful story. She saw it, I think, in Mishpacha, that he came there as Israel, and there was a couple. They hadn't had children for years, and they didn't want to come to see the Rebbe because of the fact that they hadn't had children. And to ask for a bracha one more time, they didn't have the koach, and to be in a waiting room with everybody with their children, bring it to the Rebbe, they couldn't do it. The Rebbe called them, and he said he wanted to see them. He wanted them to come in. The Rebbe asked them to come in. You come in. They came in. Asked them how, he understood. He understand things are extremely hard. And he sat there, and all he did was he cried with them. He just Pashut cried with them. If a person doesn't cry, you can't give answers. That's what he said. You got to cry. It has to hurt. Lo Elena. But that's what we have. So the answer you can have, Nelson, the answer, honestly, in my opinion, and you can listen to a lot of people on this question, is you got to cry. You have to share the pain. But you got to know that that's going to hurt. And it's a hard road being in a position of wanting to give over and being mechazik others, because you leave yourself open to a lot of raw feelings, a lot of painful feelings. I want to tell you, like, there are plenty of times I just Pashut cry. There are plenty of times it bothers me that I don't, but there are plenty of times I Pashut cry. What you hear stories and you just cry. Like, if people are hurting, and you have no way of helping them, there's nothing you can do, and the only thing you can do is cry. And that's the answer. The answer is there's no answer, and an emotion. So the answer to how did it happen? The answer, it's a gilgul. That's the intellectual answer. It's a gilgul, and something happened. You have to come back, and there's something with the nachash and the zuama, and you can ask Rav Efi how it works. He'll tell you all this stuff on the level of the nachash and all. I don't know this stuff. It's not like I don't know it. I just don't understand this stuff. But I don't think that's what people's questions are today. People's questions are, what do I do with the pain? And the answer to that is tears.
Yeah, I've sort of experienced.
You sort of what?
Experience where he was.
And all of us, listen, anybody who was trying to be Kazik, anybody else, they got it. That's what we're doing today.
Right, and that's what it is. Yeah, I'm just that's during, especially during this whole kufa, especially when people were reaching out to me and there was just so much pain, and that's what I realized. I literally, just like Rabbi was saying, I never cried I never cried this much in my life as I did in the past 3-4 months. And this past 3-4 months is when people have been reaching out the most, and like day after day, phone call after phone call, just helping and encouraging. Besides the fact, a lot of those words that you tell other people are really the words that Hashem is really sending you to hear for yourself, just through them, is what I realized. But like, yeah, like Rabbi was saying, like I Pashut cried like a baby during this entire few months, like, totally. And that's all there is to do.
Yeah, but I think you have to go to other people and just kind of, share the pain. You got to like talk to people. I can do it with my wife.
That's why I have God.
You got married since I saw you?
No, I said that's why I have God.
Oh, you have God. Oh, I thought you got the one. Yeah, for sure. But sometimes it's helpful to have a person. Sometimes it's important just to kind of talk it out with people. And I'm telling you, this is the answer that I came up with for my own processing. I think that there are more intellectually based answers. I think other Rebbeim don't necessarily relate to this topic the way I do. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just telling you the answer that talks to me and talk to me. And this is basically, again, you don't have to read the book that I wrote, but this is really kind of what I came to based on the loss that I went through and my family went through, whatever. So it was kind of like a revelation. But it's also something I came through in Poland. I came through in Poland. And the guys know, when I go to Poland, even the last time I was there, like, it's just like, I just can't, I'm like a faucet. It's almost embarrassing. I feel like silly at a certain point. Not silly. I just feel like, I forget which Rebbe it was. It had to do something with the Kutzker. I don't know exactly the board. It had to do something with the Kutzker. The Kutzker and I forget which one. I could look up which are the Rebbe. So the Meister says one of the big tzaddikim, he says that when he passed away, you must know this. There's a very, very well known story. I just don't know where which I'd have to look it up. It's you can find it online. It's like not it's whatchamacallit. It's the just came to my mind, and then it just jumped out. Kind of came to my mind. Anyway, one of the Rebbeim, one of the big tzaddikim, when he passed away, they said, come back and tell us what's going on over there. So he didn't come back. So his son was like worried. Maybe something was happening, something was wrong. So they went to search for him in Shemayim. However, that is done by tzaddikim. And he traveled a long distance, and he got to a certain huge river, lake. And he saw this tzaddik sitting there by the lake. And he says, "What are you doing here? What is this?" He says, "These are the tears of all the Yidden for all time. And I'm not going to move until it dries out." And we're going to have to cry. We got to feel that pain. We got to share it with others. We got to share it with Yidden. We got to just know that it hurts. And when we say Hazorim Bedima Berini Yiksoru, there's a time I can't picture in my imagination. But in the same way it's just painful and tears and hard, there's going to be a time we're just going to go right to joy. We're not going to have to figure it out. We're not going to have to squeeze ourselves. We're not going to have to like, okay, come on, ain't yush bolam klal. We're not have to give ourselves the shmooze. Hazorim Bedima Berini Yiksoru. We're just going to push it. We're going to laugh. I don't know what that looks like. I get awfully frustrated, wondering, will I ever go to that place? But for the meantime, and we got to mechazik each other. And we got to help each other. You didn't have to help each other. We got to mechazik each other. And everybody needs chizik. Everybody. And the Baruch made a situation today where we have very few tzaddikim. And the reason is, among other reasons, is because we're in Malchus. The generation of all the tzaddikim we had, the Baal Shem, the Vilna Gaon, that was Yisod, because Yisod is tzaddik Yisod Olam, right? But we're now below that. We're now in the world of Malchus. In the world of Malchus, Kedusha goes everywhere, goes to the lowest places. So we're trying to create a world that Moshe, we were supposed to create when we're in the Midbar, and Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't come back. And we have to stay connected to Hashem. Without our Moshes, that's where we are today. We're in a world where we don't have Moshe. Again, we have Reb Chaim, there are people there, big people, big people. But in general, we're on our own. And the question is, how are we going to be mechazik ourselves? How are we going to create connections? And that's Malchus. That's where we're up to now. But it's not an easy time period. It's not an easy time period. Not easy to stay with chizik. It's not easy to give chizik. And it's not easy to get annoyed at Hashem or angry at Hashem and wonder why is he doing all this. It's very hard. Very hard. And the best that we just have to keep trying. And Amun is the name of the game. Tzadik be'emunah seyechia. Name of the game is Amunah now. I mentioned the mathematical formula. The price of Mitzrayim was the price we paid for Torah. The price of Golus of these 2,000 years is going to be Mashiach. So how great is Torah? There's no price, What's going to be the price of after Mashiach? We don't know. But right now it's Amunah. Hashem's keeping us in the dark, basically. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of bracha. I don't mean to be kofay tov into the bunch and the good that Hashem is giving us. There's a lot of good, a lot of bracha, a lot. We have a friend of ours that the husband he has ALS. It's a startling family. It's just like you feel the Shekhinah there, how they take care of him. It's just remarkable. I could speak for an hour about this family. It's remarkable. They've kept him healthier. He's healthier now. He has more weight now. He has more muscle tone than he did when he was before his ALS. He still can't move. They move him, whatever. It's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. Why did it again? But Maisa, what it reminds me is when I eat an orange, right? And I can separate the seeds with my mouth. It's just like, wow, that's cool. Like, thanks, Hashem. My mouth can do that. Eat the watermelons. Again, today you can't have pits. It's like you don't buy it. But in the old days, you can separate. You got to eat the piece of fish. You got a little bone. You feel it, move it around, pull out the bone. That's pretty cool. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can pull off that trick. The fact is that thank God the Baruch was given health to all of us. We have all had an opportunity to think about life and to reflect on things in which we haven't had time to reflect on. There's a lot of good things, but there's a lot of pain too. And that's what it is to be a Yid. To be a Yid means you learn how to cry, you learn how to laugh, you learn how to be depressed, you learn how to be excited. It's all the colors. We're a very colorful people, inside and out. And it does, and Nelson, I'm telling you, but after all the words are said that I'm saying, it takes you maybe one notch closer. But you have a lot of people speaking to you, and it hurts. I did more talking than I expected, but I wanted to just try to mechazik each other. Anybody want to bring up anything, mention anything? Any particular challenge? Yeah. What do you got, Moshe? Moshe, you want to say something?
No, I was just saying it's good, very good.
Okay.
Could I ask a question, Rabbi?
For sure, Brahmi.
It's kind of unrelated to what you were talking about.
But I may ask you to ask the question. Because I have like my ADD brain just went to somewhere. So ask the question, and I just may want to make one more point. Yeah, go ahead.
If someone does an Avera, let's say, is there a specific emotion that's kind of acceptable? Or like, let's say you're like angry at the fact that you have a tendency to do something. And let's say, you know it's wrong, but you feel angry about it. Is that okay?
That's a wonderful question. I love the question, Avrami. I'll tell you a personal story with that question if you can just give me 1 second. Okay, no, but the point that jumped out of my head, my mind. So, if I can tell you a personal story, it has to do with Tanya. I might have mentioned this. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but girls can sometimes be distracting. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it can be a little bit of a distraction, right? Now, I'm over 35, and it's still distracting. It's not as distracting as it used to be. My hormone output is not as intense, excuse me for being like a little bit candid. But Lamaisa, it's intense. It's a challenge. So it bothered me terribly. Like, I'm still at this point. So the Baba Tanya says that a person thinks to himself, I shouldn't be going through this challenge. He says he calls it gaiva. He said, who said? Who said? Maybe that's what you're supposed to be up to. Maybe that's where you are. And that's the challenge that Baruch wants for you. So can it be frustrating? Can it be like, oh, why do I have to fall again? Why do I have to keep doing that? So it was kind of like, okay, the Baruch wants, that I should still be attracted. I should still find girls cute. Okay, I'm being a little bit coarse over here. But in order to make a point that yes, we can have certain things which bother us, but I think if we have the perspective of that, that's where we're holding. That's what Hashem wants from us in terms of our avoda. So I think we can understand the anger and the frustration, I'm using the word frustration. I don't know if that works for you. We can understand the anger and frustration, but then we can also put it in perspective and say, and this is where I'm apparently holding, and Hashem wants me to keep working on this thing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think it's like all things. I think it's like, we get frustrated with a lot of things, and it's just like, okay, I'm still frustrated by it. Like, this still bothers me. I got a job. Like, okay, back to work. Doesn't make it easy, but.
Yeah.
On both sides, this is a little bit like, I don't want to leave Olam Haba, but everybody's got their jobs and their things they got to do. But I want to tell you, I really appreciate this. And
can I make one comment on the last point, Rabbi?
Go ahead, absolutely.
So the Baal Shem Tov says that the sadness and potentially the guilt that a person might feel from doing an Avera is a bigger Avera than the Avera itself. And a person shouldn't get bogged down, chas v'shalom, and too much. Like they should use it as motivation to try to not do Averas again and to do tshuva. And you can view, if a person does an Avera, they can view that as, oh, now I have an opportunity to do tshuva, which is a huge mitzvah in itself. But not to feel dragged down and feel see how far away from Hashem I am and all that kind of stuff. That's never a good thing.
Absolutely.
Can you repeat that line one more time?
Say it again, Hassan. I'm sorry.
Can you repeat that line from the Baal Shem?
The Baal Shem Tov says that the sadness or depression that a person would chas v'shalom feel after doing an Avera is a bigger Avera than the Avera itself. That's the main point. And
he's trying to get you down and depressed about yourself, so you do more Averas.
Exactly.
There's no question that to me is the challenge today. My Rebbe, his name was Israel Tauber. Some of you may have heard of him or read some of his books, whatever. He held that the generation is totally kicking itself and is totally challenged by feeling terrible about the things they've done wrong. And he held that there was no question that this is the challenge of people doing Averas today, is not the Avera. It's the rethinking and rethinking. It's the what we call ruminating. Just look what I did, look what I did, look what I did. And it's like, I did it, right there. And I think that that's an incredibly important thing. I mentioned this maybe from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, a Rebbe of mine, my Rosh Kollel, before he came to Eretz Yisrael. Well, the Rebbe was still, he still gave Yechidus. You could still go into Rebbe, on an individual basis after things got too busy and they stopped doing that. The Rebbe told him a murdic line. I don't know if I've ever shared this with any of you. The Rebbe said that Cheshbon and Nefesh is a very great thing, but it should only be done certain times. It should be done Erev. It should be done in the evening, Erev Shabbos, Erev Rosh Chodesh, Erev Rosh Hashanah. And he said, I'm going to have a hard time translating this. Some of you guys know that if you have in mind to bring a korban at the wrong time, you take a shalom and you say, I want to eat it for 3 days, and you designate it for the wrong time period, it's called pigul. Pigul is a korban which is used for the wrong time. He said if a person does cheshbon and nefesh when he shouldn't be, it's pigul. It means we've got a job to do. We're busy. We should reflect, but we can't stay in, what did I do? What did I do? How did I do it? We're busy. We've got a job to do. I think the one thing I just wanted to say was, before that I just forgot, was I shared today, gentlemen, my take of how I see things for myself and the people around me. I'm not saying that that's how the Mash would reflect it. I'm not saying that's how Rabbi Slavin or Rabbi Feldman or anybody else would reflect on it. This is kind of how I see the issues. And I think the issues are very much emotionally based. And it's the things that we have to struggle with today. And we need chizuk for each other. And as much as the intellectual issues are very, very important, of course, but they're really secondary. But I did want to share that that's my own personal view of what I think is going on in the bigger world today. All right. Just one second. Before we go, we have a message from Rabbi Arush. Speaks about this in length. We should be sameach about our struggles because it's Hashem's way of saying, I love you and I want you to come closer to me. So Cord, I just want to tell you that if you can get there and you can head on that road, it's amazing. But very often, it's hard to know how to get past the blocks of frustration. And I think a lot of it, what's pardon?
That's what it feels like sometimes. Like, I don't know, that was one of the biggest that have been coming up for me. It's like, I feel like it's Stockholm Syndrome because every other relationship in our life that we're told, if we're, especially us that don't come from the best homes, we're told that these situations, oh, get out of them. They're bad for you. Oh, but you still care about this person, but they're detrimental to you. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And all this, I guess, quote unquote, is what we feel is bad coming from them, that we try to get away from it. But when it comes to the relationship with Hashem, we're supposed to run towards that. So I just we call that, when we run back towards our abuser, when it comes to abuse within the physical realm of the world, we call it Stockholm Syndrome. But when we do it towards God, we call it Emunah.
Good. So what do you do with that? How do you deal with that, Nelson?
I'm asking Rebbe. I want to hear Rebbe first.
I'll tell you again. I have to go back to my personal story because that's where the source of this was. Some of the guys know the story. I apologize I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. This is just a story that happened to me. It was a very important part of my life and something that I learned a lot from. But my sister was a very special person, and she was in an accident 10 years ago. It was really tragic. And I couldn't figure out a whole bunch of things. I couldn't figure out. There we go. I needed to see the punning. It wasn't, I go a whole day, almost a whole hour and a half. I'm like, seeing your name. I'm like, I can't handle it. It's not, I'm going to KA. I got to go to KA, I think. Anyway, so how it was kind of like, okay, so now what? Like, how do I deal with this? And the part, again, if you read the book, what was really hard is that a lot of my family is not religious. And it was like, they didn't have the kalim to deal with it, right? And I came to a certain feeling that real emunah means you don't get it. Real emunah doesn't mean like, yeah, I get it, and it's good, I can handle it. It's like real emunah means you don't get it.
You're okay with saying that I don't know, and it's okay.
But it's a pain. It's a place where it hurts. It's a place it's not an intellectual place. But there are people when you get there, and this is, I think, when people go to AA, NA, they have certain experiences. They touch a certain deep place, and you got to let go. And it's a fight, and it's a fight to let go. It's a fight to say, Hashem, you're in charge. I don't get it. I don't understand all this pain. You do. And I'm gonna let you run the show. But it's a very personal place that everybody has to get to on their own and has to struggle with on their own. It's a lonely place. Nobody can give you an answer in that place. Only people can share maybe what it's like, but nobody can really take you there. Everybody has to go there themselves and say, how am I going to deal with a God who I know is good, who I see a lot of pain in his world? And can I let go and say, he's got a bigger plan? Listen, I'm telling you, that's very much in short my answer. It's a personal struggle. It's a personal, there's just nobody in the world besides you and Hashem. It's like Abram in the mountain. There's just nobody around. The real test of Yidden, there's nobody around. And it's just you and Hashem and the pain and the question. And I want to tell you something. I should finish up because my wife just got off of her share. I want to tell you a very important point that I learned from my Rebbeim. When Avram was told to bring up his son, so we think that he didn't ask any questions. And I want to tell you that it's not true. If you look in Chumash and Rashi, he'll tell you he asked Hashem a question. He said, Hashem, I don't understand. Initially, you told me, you told me that Yitzchak was going to be my future. Then you told me, take him up as an Ola. And now you're telling me to take him down. So he asked the question. It wasn't like he didn't ask the question. He asked the question. The only thing is he waited until after the test. You got to wait until after the test. You can ask the question.
And there's no question after the test.
No.
Like when you say, I thought he was doing it. My shot. I thought he was doing it during, but he still did it anyway. Like you could have a question of why somebody's doing it, but
right.
You know it's right, so you're doing it. But once after the fact, you're saying no, because I was thinking that I was in the headspace of like after the fact. A lot of times we generally see why we had to do what we had to do, and that's why there isn't that question still there.
Right.
The question of why I had to do that to get there, but the question of after the fact of why I'm there is not there.
No, but that's not. I'm saying, but it's not like Chumash Rashi. Chumash Rashi is he had a question and he stayed with the question, and he asked Hashem, I don't understand. You're allowed again when the questions block us from that point of letting go and getting connected. So then the question, it gets in the way between me and Hashem. But it doesn't mean I can't have that question. I happen to be, I'm very curious. I'm not planning on leaving this world. But Hashem should give me, my whole family, a lot of good years, many years, Mitzvah Hashem. But I'm curious. I'm quite curious what the cheshbon is. Hashem doesn't have to tell me. That's fine. If he doesn't tell me, I'm fine. He doesn't have to answer me anything. Lo magia li klum. But I'm curious. But I don't want the question to get in the way. I got to go to both sides. Thank you very, very much. It was really...
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Neil, be in touch, okay? I need to talk business with you at some point.
You got it.
Gentlemen, really a treat.
Take care.
Nothing, Mayor. I'm with you in the struggle, buddy.
Well, thank you, Rabbi.
Feel free to be in touch if you need to cry with somebody.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Okay.